Scrapwood Challenge, Scrapwood Challenge. It's firewood, but some of the wood is good. In this video I'm making a jigsaw. There won't be a picture, just the wood grain itself, so I'll try and pick out an interesting piece of camphor laurel. That looks pretty nice. Now I'll take a couple of slices of that on the bandsaw. Before cutting the second slice, I'll plane the surface first on the jointer. Next I'll put them through the thicknesser by sticking them down to an old piece of laminate flooring. A small amount broke off, but there's plenty there to play with. The cutters in my thicknesser are getting dull, but I've just ordered some new ones. I decided to add some edging, so I raided the scrap bin, which is in a shocking state, and I decided to use some black butt and black wattle. Before I glue it together, I need a backing board, and this old piece of MDF will do the trick. I decided to add the Scrapwood Challenge logo. I printed it onto the backing sheet of a sticker, and because the ink doesn't dry on the shiny surface, I can transfer that onto the wood. It didn't stand out as well as I'd hoped. I did do a test on a scrap piece first and it looked much better, but that wood was a little bit lighter. I'm covering it with masking tape to protect the finish, and then I'm also putting tape onto the back before I glue the cutting template onto that. This should make it easier to remove later on. I found the template online. They're really not difficult to find. I modified a larger one to make it into a 15 by 15 puzzle. Now it's time to get scrolling. I don't use this tool very often, but one thing about this project, it'll be good practice. It's just a case of following the lines and going all the way along and cutting a whole strip. That's not too bad at all. Now on to the next strip. That's halfway through all the cutting. I'll tape them together with clear packing tape and then I'll cut the strips the opposite way. I wasn't particularly fast, and all up it took me about 3 hours to cut them all, but I'm sure somebody more experienced would be able to do them much faster. I was really excited to get the tape off and take a look at it, but there was a problem. I was doing other projects while making this, and I put the jigsaw aside for a week after cutting all the first strips. While it was sitting there, the tape had baked on and it didn't want to come back off. I picked away at it, but it took some time and it was no fun whatsoever. Some of the corners of the MDF came away, so I sanded them and then I gave it a couple of light coats of clear spray. Now for the other side, and that should be much easier as the finished surface is tougher and smoother. Nope, just as bad, if not worse. I got there eventually, but what a mess with all that glue residue left on the surface. I cleaned it off with a small amount of turps on a rag, being careful not to push the glue into the gaps. It came out not too bad, but I decided to freshen it up by sanding it and then a couple of coats of satin spray. I had to give it a go, and I decided not to take a reference photo first to make it a little bit tougher. It may not be the most challenging jigsaw ever, but it still took a while. It took a couple of hours and it was more difficult than I thought it would be. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to come back tomorrow to watch the next episode of the 7 Scrapwood Challenges in 7 days.